Hello everybody, welcome to this new episode. This is going to be a different video. Today I'm going to talk about a programming language called AWK. AWK. AWK is that's how you spell it, AWK. AWK is a very powerful programming language that can be used for processing large files, large text files. And the reason why it's so powerful is because it treats files line by line, and it gives you control over the columns. So it's more like if you have followed the videos on Talent ETL and Talent ESB, most of the things that we accomplish with this tool we can make with a simple AWK script. So let me just give you a brief introduction in what AWK is, what AWK can do for you. AWK, you can use it on the command line. If you don't happen to have a Linux system, you can also, there's hope for you. You can just download the Git bash, and you can just open the Git bash and from there you can just execute AWK commands. So let me just give you a very small demonstration what we can do with AWK. I have a file here that I generated. Let me just show you what this file contains. Oops. So this file has a lot of records, or 100 records if I'm not mistaken. There are 100 records with this is the key separation, column separation. So we have date, which is the column number 1. We have this I call price, is column number 2, and this is the column 3. This is an average, and this is the column 4. So this is some a text file that I produce based on Bitcoin price action, and so this is real data when it comes to the time and price. This is an average that I made based on the price. And yep, let me just show you like things that you can do with AWK. AWK, if let's say you have a string, the hello world string, the typical hello world string, you can just pipe and execute print 0, and this will print the whole line. So 0 stands for the whole line, but let's say that you want to print only the first word out of the string, then you give the number 1. But if you want to print the second column out of the string, it will give you the second word. So AWK is intelligent enough to do these things. Let's say if you pipe this file into AWK, I can pipe this file also into AWK, following the same procedure. First printing the whole line, so nothing happened. They just the file just went through AWK and came out as it went through it. So, but let's say, okay, we have the first separation right here, but I want to print in 1. Well, AWK will take the space as a separation, as a separator, right? If I want AWK to really use the semicolon as a separation, I have to indicate it by this flag. Now AWK is giving me the first column, the second, and so it will do for the third and for the fourth. So let's say I want to concatenate. I'm only interested in getting the column 2 and the column 4. Well, then it will give me those 2 columns, but I want to, I don't like the semicolon separator. I want to have a pipe in between. So that's how you give a pipe. But let's say you want Well, I think this is pretty much enough for making the point here. What AWK does, you can reorganize your columns by just altering the order in which you print. So that's pretty useful. Other things you can do with AWK, you can do a lot of stuff, fancy stuff on the command line, like combining with your shell scripts. And the thing that I like the most about AWK is the mathematics, because it's quite simple. Like, let's say that I want to calculate two numbers, so I just run echo, and let's say the first is 30, the second is 40. I can just pipe this into AWK and say, okay, give me the 1 times 2, right? And it will give you the 1 times 2, which is 30 by 40. But I want to just add it together. That is how you do it. And so 30 minus 40 is a negative number, and here will be a positive one. So those are like a handy little tricks with AWK. So now let's get and build some real, like a real program. So I already showed you the file. Let me just show it. Oh, excuse that noise. I better make sure I don't mistype things, because the noise can be annoying. So I want to transform this data file. I want to make something here. I want to so the neutral block stands for advice, right? I want to analyze this file line by line, and I want to do something about this average, right? If that average, I think I wrote here what the idea was, yeah, here. So I want to do this. If the average price, which is this column, number 3 column, is smaller than 500, I want to then transform this column into buy. Else, if that average price is above 700, then I will transform this advice here onto sell. And if, so that's how I should like else if, but anyway. And if none of those two requirements are met, then I want to just print HODL onto this. On top of that, I want to have also some ATH variable and ATL variable. So the ATH will stand for all-time high, all-time low. So I will keep record of the highest average and the lowest average. So by every time these records will be updated on the right hand side of the neutral thing. And yeah, that's pretty much the idea of this program. Right now I'm working only with 100 lines just to make it quick and simple, but you can make a really huge scripts in AWK. There's no, yeah. So let's get started. So the structure of our script is like as follows. AWK, the same way that I executed AWK by passing the contents of the file through pipe, you can just create a script and execute it. Let's say my script will be named BTC analyzer.awk. It will have this extension, right? So let me see if I can just create this script by put it into here. I will call this script like this, and I save it if it allows me. Yeah. So the structure of the AWK program goes as follows. You have to write AWK, then open this apostrophe. In the end, you might have to make some action, and the structure goes as follows. You have a begin, close, begin close, followed by a open and close brackets. You might have like the body of your program also in closing brackets, and you might have something like end and also some little brackets. So this is the structure. You can have functions defined in this area, in this region here. I'll call it functions here. You comment with a hash symbol, as you might have in here by now, and inside the begin you define variables. So let's start then by the definition, the specification of this program. As I said before, I want to have two variables. I want to have the variable ATH, which stands for all-time high. This will be a float set up to 0. I want to have the ATL, which is all-time low. Since the all-time low is not going to be lower than 0, so I will make it will start by a high number, so that it will go down and down and down. Yeah, that's pretty much for this. I also need to indicate what the field separator will be for my file. So this is how you indicate inside the script the field separator. Outside I used as you can see, I used the flag -f. Inside the script or program works differently. So we are done with this part. Now what I want to do is, in this block I want to start doing some things. I want to start reading the file, right? Actually printing what I want to print. So I can print here, but let me just okay, let's work on the function. Let's work on the function that will evaluate whether the all-time high is all-time high. So the way the you write a function is as simply as writing function. It's pretty similar to JavaScript, and then my function will be called ADHF. I will keep that F to know that it's not a variable but the function, and here I will write my function. So this function will receive ATH, let's call it ATH value, and the current average, right? So it will have to make a comparison. It will say, okay, if the current value, okay, if the current value is greater than all-time high value, then I want to return the all-time high, I mean the current value, because it's bigger, right? Sorry, return core. So else I want to return the ATHV value, because that doesn't need to change, so I will just return that one. So what does that mean? Anytime by every line, so the lines by every line that I read, I will compare this all-time high value. Is it bigger than, and I will keep track of a all-time high value, and I will just compare this value with the current. If the current is bigger than the one that I'm tracking, then I will rewrite this, and I will do that in a moment. So now we start reading the file from here. This is the begin clause, and here I start with my analysis. Now I have to do this, carry out this logic here. So let me just copy this temporarily, and I will copy here down just for reference. So right here in this block here, I will say if average price. Well, average price I know is column 3, right? We said this column is the average price. If the average price is smaller than 500, then I want you to do something. What do I want you to do? I want you to give the advice sell buy, sorry. So the way we do that is by just doing print, and I will print column 1 followed by a space. I will change actually, by the way, the semicolon, and I will replace that by a pipe. Then the 2, first was the day, the 2 was the price. Let's do a pipe, and maybe I should give, instead of a pipe, let's do some little tab for readability. And that was the 2. Now the 3, and the 4. Well, the 4 is the one that I'm going to replace by buy, and so I can easily, inside the quotes, I can write buy. I think I have some extra, yeah. So here I just write buy and end this clause, and I will do the same, or I will test else if the average price, which is 3, is inferior to, okay, is above 700, then I will issue the advice to sell. So I copy this into this, and I modify this, and I say okay, sell. So that should be should work, I guess, but I want to do something else. I want to also keep track of the all-time high and the all-time low. So the way I will do that is by just simply, I will call the all-time high function here, and the return I will use to rewrite the variable ATH. So calling the HF, passing the ATH, the all-time high value, and passing the current all-time high, I mean the current average, it will return either the current value, if the current is bigger, so that current value will be, this variable will be rewritten with the current value. If not, this variable will be rewritten, will rewritten with the same value, which means it will stay the same. So let's go, and that's for the all-time high. Now I have to define another function for the all-time low. So I copy this function. I could make this function probably different, but anyway, I just copy this function. In fact, I don't need to. So if this is, the current value is smaller than the all-time high, or in this case it will be the all-time low, it should work the same, but it's good for readability to have this well defined. So if this current value is smaller than the all-time low, that means that we need to return the current value as a new all-time low. Else we return the all-time low, which means nothing happened. So now we repeat this same thing again right here, and I will just modify this by that, and I will say okay. So next, I should have been debugging so far, but let's just see if we can get it right at once and make this video not so endless. So next thing we're going to do here is I want to print here the all-time high. So I will put a pipe here, and I will say ATH equals ATH, and here I will say 8ATL, which stands for all-time low, equals ATL. So, and I will do the exact same thing right here. The difference is that this one is a cell, and besides I need another one statement for the HODL, right? So I need an else statement here, which will say else print this thing, but you will print, instead of buy or sell, you will say HODL is the L. So I think that should be it for this program. So now I save this. Let's see, I save this, and what I'm going to do is, let's list my files. I will to execute a script 2 and then pass this file. Let's pass this file and see what happens. Oh, and nothing happened. So very interesting. Nothing happened. Why did nothing happen? We have the begin, we have the end. Okay, the begin, the end. This begin is closed here. We have, wait a minute, actually this is outside. I think this should go inside here. Let's try to execute it again. Nothing happened. Interesting. Let me just remove this statement here and see what is going on. Script 2 is the one I made. Let me just check. Well, actually what happened is that I'm trying to run I'm trying to run the script 2, but I'm actually working on the BTC analyzer. That's the one that I have to run. So it is BTC analyzer, and I have to pass in this file as an argument. I want to click on enter. Then let's take a look. Okay, the HODL part doesn't seem to be very neatly formatted. Why is that? Why the HODL doesn't format as well as the other? Yeah, perhaps HODL 3 letters, and maybe that will make it appear nicer. I'm not really happy about the format, to be honest, but let's just bring it back to the limiting with semicolon. So I guess I have to put on here the semicolon. I have a pipe here. We'll do semicolon instead of the pipe, and here also. And let me just copy this quickly to this one and change this for HDO. Hopefully the format will look differently this time. Okay, well, what happened here is we have the all-time high starts by 495, and as the all-time high on this column increases, we reach 59, we reach 69. I want to see a place where it goes up and down. So we have from 50, 61, 67, like here for instance, we reached 599, and the next line we went down, and the all-time high remains all-time high, which is the idea. And then finally we reach the end of the document with an all-time high at 735, and the all-time low remained the same because it never went that lower, because this was actually the all-time low since the beginning, and that didn't change at all. So yeah, that is a little example how you can transform data with AWK. And by the way, just a little how you call, a little bonus. Let's say you want to generate a file, the result you want to have in a file. So BTC analysis, BTC advice, let's go advice. I want to make a CSV file, so this will just append, it will append to that file this output. Let's give it a test. It should work. So I don't have such a file here. I will just run again. Oh, that was not okay. The syntax is not nice. Syntax error. Okay, so basically I might need to do something different here. It should print this, and didn't like the dot right there, only the dot. Okay, if the problem is the dot alone, then I can get away with it if I just make this into it should work if it's complaining only about the dot. No, it's actually printing it completely. So what you can do actually, by the way, is very simple. Let me just, this is easier than I actually thought. Sorry about that, sorry about the mess. But yeah, actually you don't need to do those things. You just write the exit, the output into a file. It is as simple as that. Sorry about the confusion. You see? Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's I think pretty much this is the basic structure and syntax of AWK. I mean, this is the fundamentals with which you can do tremendous things. Knowing how to identify columns, and of course there's much more to it, but I think this is quite you can do impressive things with this little piece of information, and that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.